get it
We
right
said
now.
especially Sandlot, 'cause you said that's like your thing. And I don't even remember the main character's name. Benny.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez, girl.
Show some respect.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, it's us. We just wanted to hop on here and kind of dissect some of the movies that you guys voted on. Dissect sounds a little bit much. But really, we want to open up the themes of these movies because the beautiful thing about our faith is that you can find Christian themes, the good, the true, and the beautiful in everything.
Literally everything.
Every movie.
Yeah.
Even movies that you're like, what?
Yeah.
It still has good things.
Oh, yes.
And the good, the true, and the beautiful all points to Christ. It comes from Christ. And we hope that after you hear us talk about these movies, you are better at, when you watch movies yourself, pointing out the themes in those movies.
Yeah, because there's always good things to find in the movies. I know Hollywood sometimes gets it wrong, and we will admit, yes, they get it wrong. But still, some of those movies are just like, wow, I did not expect to see that. We'll talk about one of those movies in a bit. That was a surprise for me. So.
Yeah, there's virtue to be seen in different characters in these movies. We're not necessarily saying everything in all 5 movies is flawless.
Right.
But we are going to just point out a few themes that we think are really beautiful and cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to introduce our first? Well, you said you had something to say at the beginning of Princess Bride.
Yes. So for our first movie, whatever could it be? What could this movie possibly be about? Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles. What could this movie be? The Princess Bride.
Well, true
Wow.
love.
Yeah.
It's only mostly dead.
He's only been mostly dead all day. Yeah, so one of the... I'm trying to think of a way of doing this without, like, spoiling it for the people who haven't seen it.
Okay, this is the one movie I didn't get a chance to watch. I'm sorry.
Yet, and she will watch it. It's all good. Anyway, so one thing that is prevalent throughout the movie, because it's the good chunk of the movie, is the man in black pursuing Vicini, Fezzik, and Indigo as they've, like, captured Buttercup, and they're taking her across the sea and across into a different country. And this man in black is constantly pursuing her. Turns out it's her true love, Wesley, who is coming back for her, who told her that he would always come back for her, would always find her. So that's very similar to the Lord's pursuit of his bride, the Lord's pursuit of us. He goes through all these impossible scenarios to try to get to Buttercup. The Lord goes through anything you can imagine to get to us. The good, the bad, the ugly. He's there throughout all of it. So our cliffs of insanity might look a little different than Buttercup's, or like fighting a giant, or tricking a Sicilian into drinking poison. You know, it's casual things, but Jesus does it on the regular. That's the weirdest sentence I've ever said.
I think it could be valid. I mean, Jesus pursues his bride.
Yeah.
To the point of death, right? Like,
Yeah.
he loved her to the point of dying.
To the death.
To the death.
To the death, yeah.
So,
To the pain.
I wish I had more to say about this movie, but like
Yeah.
Megan said, I hadn't seen it.
Rubbish! Putrescence!
We don't need him to insert any clips. He could just do like different lines from the movies in the background.
Featuring Father Brad Doyle.
Boo! Boo! You gave up true love!
Yes. Yeah, and another theme in Princess Bride is like that theme of true love. So again, Wesley's constantly pursuing Buttercup. Spoiler, but when Prince Humperdinck kills him and he's only mostly dead, Miracle Max kind of asks him, you know, like, what's so important for you to stick around for? And Wesley responds with true love. And it's just such a beautiful moment, as is his reunion with Buttercup, because he's like, I told you I'd always come back for you. And she said, you know, you were dead. I thought you were dead. And he says, death cannot delay true love. It can only delay it for a little while. So it cannot stop true love.
Yeah. And
Nothing can stop true love.
That is true. And love isn't necessarily a feeling that comes and goes. Like, love is a choice. I think that is something I can add.
Yeah, there you go. Good job.
Nice. Okay. Ready for the next movie?
Let's do it.
I have a joke. Do you know that the Bible is all about baseball?
It is.
It is. It starts in the big inning. It's so bad, Father Brad didn't even laugh. It's just one of those. Okay, so we're going to be talking about The Sandlot, which is a classic. I know a lot of our youth group kids, I know a lot of you guys have seen it and have said your love for it, but we're going to be talking about the communal aspect of all this ragtag group of boys coming together, making a little community, having one goal in mind. So, because in a similar way, especially during summer, social distancing, it's weird, but you're probably going to be hanging around a community. I don't know what community that looks like. Maybe it's a community at your gym or your your sports community, or maybe your family or your neighborhood. But the reality is you become like the people you hang out with. So you want to have people who have the same goals and the same things in mind as you do. So
because you become like those people that you hang around with. It's kind of like the same thing of the music you listen to has an influence on you. The movies you watch have an influence on you. The people you spend all of your time with, that's going to leave a mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And The Sandlot is just one of those classic movies that you can watch, I think, over and over again. Yep. And
Trivia: Who invented the mini mall?
The mini mall?
Mm-hmm. Timmy and Tommy. Come on.
Really?
Oh yeah, I remember that at the end.
Bertram Weeks got into the 60s and no one ever saw him again. Bertram Grover Weeks. Chaw. Then he played for the Dodgers. Smalls ended up being an announcer, obviously.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Who was the guy, the pitcher? Remember their names?
The taller one?
I don't know what Hamilton Porter did. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So,
do you have anything else of the spiritual aspect you'd like to add about The Sandlot?
I would say that radical hospitality, Benny receiving Smalls, even though Benny had all the talent, all the reason to not accept him and to look down on him like all the other boys would, but he used his place of success and influence to draw people into community and not to push them away or it's a classic Christian move. Christian move, Benny.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yes. All the yes.
Yeah, totally. So maybe look out.
And then he hit a baseball into the air, into the glove. That's how good he is.
Yes.
Be Benny.
Be like Benny.
Hashtag be Benny.
Can that be but twisted towards also like Pope Benedict? So it's that's just the new shirt for the youth group or the new bracelet.
Benny.
Be like Benny.
And it's Pope Benedict, but with Benny the Jet Rodriguez's face and mustache when he's older.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Or wearing Pope Benedict wearing Benny's jersey.
Yeah, that's it. I like that.
Yes.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, we're going to go to our third movie. This movie is a classic.
In all aspects.
It really is. We're going to be talking about the animated film.
The one that matters.
The Lion King. So, Megan, you were going to talk about the beginning.
Yes. So, in the beginning, it's the wonderful circle of life musical montage of all these animals coming together to what is called the presentation of Simba. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I had to take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate. Anyway, so during this presentation, Rafiki, who is very much so a priestly figure throughout the movie, comes and anoints Simba. And that anointing is going to end up being his call to be king one day. So it's literally he anoints him on the forehead, he comes, presents him to the animal kingdom. Simba's got big shoes to fill from the get-go. It is his vocation that he is called to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He tries to live the no worries life, the I have no responsibilities, I'm just going to kind of ignore my vocation, put that on the side, which I think in some ways no worries is a good motto. But in this movie, you see that he's not living his best life. He's not fulfilling his potential. He's not fulfilling his vocation. He's just running away from it out of fear.
right? And it takes, this is also good because the male-female complementarity, it takes Nala coming to find him and calling him out and being like, hey, you've got a vocation to take care of over here. You have a land to take care of, a people to take care of. So it takes the female coming and calling him to be a man. So I'm just going to throw that as well. And he answers that call very, very well.
It's a circle of life.
I know. Friends that can call you out like that in a nice way is just like goals. Like, you need that. Friends that can be like, hey, you were made for more.
Yes.
Don't live like no worries. Have no worries, but also like, man up.
Yep.
So, nice. All right.
You know, it's based off of Hamlet,
I didn't know that.
Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like you can dissect this movie forever.
You could.
So good.
Yeah. There's also like the balance of like good versus evil.
Yeah. I reference a circle of life like every time a bug dies, you know? Like, it's like real life.
Every time a bug dies, an angel gets its wings.
That's how that goes.
Father Brad Doyle. Not associated with us.
My opinions are my own.
All right. Meg, do you want to introduce the next movie?
Yes, the next movie is Coco.
Mm.
Just let that moment of like, ow, touch you for a moment, and
Tears.
it's fine. One theme that's very prevalent, especially towards the end of the movie, is forgiveness. So for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it was a big misunderstanding. There ended up being a murder. You know, it's fine.
It happens.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's this husband and wife who have been estranged, and it's a moment of the wife coming to forgive the husband, and it looks a little different than what you think forgiveness would look like. It wasn't a big embrace at first. It wasn't like, oh, I forgive you. It was, no, I will help you for this common goal. Like, I can't forgive you right now, but I'll help you complete what needs to be done. And as they work on their goal of like sending Miguel home, like, she comes to forgive him, and she said, you know, like, she turns to the murderer and is like, you murdered the love of my life. And he's like, I'm the love of your life. And she's like, stop, I'm still mad at you, but like, dude. And it's just like this beautiful moment of like being real of that forgiveness is necessary and forgiveness is a process. Ultimately, though, it frees both her and Hector, her husband, just to kind of move forward in the afterlife together.
Mm-hmm. There's also this really beautiful, super Catholic theme of honoring the dead. Before this, me and Megan were talking about how we call upon the saints and we look back in the past of all the, you know, great men and women in our families and in the church who have passed on the faith, and who that we can pray to in heaven to intercede for us, which I think is really beautiful.
Yeah.
But Coco really does just like stab you in the heart with no mercy because it's
Basically.
just like so real. And
Yeah.
forgiveness is really, it's a hard thing, but like,
Right.
I think they show that struggle and that process in this film, which is really beautiful.
Yes. And then as far as remembering the dead, like just the tradition that they pass on, be it family or faith related. Tradition's a thing we can always turn back to know where we came from and remember where we're going.
Yeah, totally. Oh, remember me.
Oh,
If we had any musical ability, we would be.
yeah, but no. So,
All right. And the final movie, which some people think is kind of scary, but me and Megan are the biggest chickens you will ever meet, and we watched it and we survived.
yes,
So,
and it is a
we
quiet
recommend.
place.
yes.
And I'll be honest, I watched this for the first time this past Friday, and it is the most Catholic and pro-life movie I've ever seen.
It really, it's some hard, big words.
So good.
It is so good.
It is so good, and I was so surprised because, as Ainsley said, chicken. I don't do the horror stuff, but it was so good.
Totally. I mean, we were talking about the way they live, like being in a monastery is really beautiful. The pro-life themes, the sacrificial love at the end. If you've seen the end scene, I mean, it's great that they like can communicate without words. I mean, they have the sign language, but like you see in that movie that like you really do communicate without words, just through body language,
Right.
You know, and they
Like-
show their love through like
Right.
actions.
And that makes me think of Father Brad's homily 2 weekends ago when he's like, you have to live love. Love is a verb.
It ain't a thing.
It ain't a thing. It's
not
a verb.
something you hold. It's
And-
not something you scream.
Yes. So it's literally like not only are they communicating with their body with sign language, but it's also like the little embrace, the ultimate act of sacrificial love, saying like I love you. And
I've always loved it
Oh.
when he does that. Yeah, I'm crying. It's fine.
I felt a lot of things.
Yeah, Bishop Barron also, to guide you somewhere else. He also has videos where he reviews different movies and he pulls out the good, the true, and the beautiful.
Mhm.
And he has specifically one about The Quiet Place, which is just really stellar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the pro-life themes could not be more obvious. I mean, this woman, Emily Blunt, I don't really even know her name in the movie.
I love her.
Quiet. I know. I want to be her friend.
They're married in real life.
I
Yes.
know. Isn't that so cool?
And he's Catholic.
Krasinski?
Is Catholic.
Oh, he's my favorite actor.
He's so
I
good.
know. I know.
And he was in The Office.
I know.
Jim.
We can't lose.
But you really can't.
Hey, what's your Instagram handle?
Made Megan.
Everyone's probably like, why maid?
Because I worked at the Haunted Mansion, and that's when I made my Instagram account, was when I was a maid at the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, made like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Anyway, back to this movie.
It's fine.
So, pro-life, Emily Blunt.
Yeah, so she had every reason in the whole wide world to, say like this pregnancy is not worth it, because they knew that having a child come into their life, birthing a child, would most likely ruin all of their lives because of the sound aspect. Like, if the baby makes a sound, if in the birth she makes a sound, they could all easily die. And just seeing how like they worked together to form this super elaborate, intentional plan to have this baby and to bring life into a seemingly lifeless and hopeless situation was gold.
Yes. So good.
So gold.
I know. Yeah. And we also mentioned how it's almost like a monastic life. So as if they lived in a monastery. One, their last name is Abbott. And Abbott is the head of a monastery. They live
Blowing my mind.
they live a very quiet life, obviously. So like they live in silence. They do their daily task in silence. They are self-sustaining. They like live on a farm and they take care of things for themselves, by themselves. They're barefoot. They are barefoot and they walk on sand to reduce the noise. A lot of monasteries and convents, like, they don't wear shoes.
Discalced.
I can never pronounce that.
So
Yeah, it's
the Carmelite reforms of St. Teresa of Avila were called the Discalced reforms because she changed them to having sandals, so like basically barefoot almost, like me.
Hey. I literally would love.
Oh, yeah. So Father Brad is currently discalced. How do you say that?
Discalced.
Discalced. Okay.
Special thanks to Father Brad's foot.
Father Brad's foot has itself.
Oh, but these are all the themes. These are the 5 movies you guys voted on, and we tried to unpack them as best as possible. You can probably look up Christian themes in these movies and
Oh, yes, definitely.
get a lot more out of it, to supplement. But, yeah, we're here for you. We're excited We're excited for us to be able to all gather together in the youth room again. But until then, we'll be praying for you and thinking of you.
Thank you.